Did I make it? I made it. And there you are, my little gemstone. After all this time, I found my bright-screened beauty. Let's take a look. I never stopped believing, but the ancient Vita artifact is still with us, and now it is mine. There she is. All these years later, still one of the best. And still in great condition too. Quite the prize. A treasure indeed. Hi there guys, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and yes, in case it wasn't already obvious, today we're going to be discussing about the beautiful, underappreciated handheld that is, of course, the PlayStation Vita. Now why am I doing this? Well, if you are someone who's tapped into the gaming sphere, you will have noticed that last week saw the launch of another console, won't say which one it is, that made use of a beautiful bright OLED screen. Obviously the PS Vita was making use of this and working with this tech almost 10 years ago now, so I thought I'd use this opportunity to use that fact as a launchpad to discuss 5 major ways that I think the PlayStation Vita was well ahead of its time. Let's not waste any more time, let's dive into the PlayStation Vita and all of its portable goodness. Beginning with the most obvious standout PlayStation Vita feature, and of course the partial reason for this video's inspiration, Sony's second handheld had the foresight to invest in a bloody beautiful screen. Whereas other portable console competitors of the time were still messing around with standard LCD, PlayStation had the foresight to invest in a bigger, brighter screen that quite literally presented its games in the best light possible. It marked a huge step over what purchasers of the original PlayStation Portable were able to enjoy just 8 years prior, thanks to the decision to make use of a gorgeous RGB stripe OLED display. What's the benefit of OLED over LCD then? Well, as no doubt many platform-agnostic players are now likely experiencing, hint hint, it simply allows for a much broader contrast of colours to be accurately rendered on screen. This is in addition to a slightly faster refresh rate, a fuller viewing angle, and higher levels of brightness and darkness that better draws your eye closer into the action. Now, I'm no tech guy, but firing up a first-party game like Uncharted Golden Abyss, Resistance Burning Skies, and of course Killzone Mercenary, all of those perks I just listed are still noticeable today. The PlayStation Vita might be quite antiquated from a pure graphical fidelity standpoint when compared to the portable games of today, but the OLED's colour-based advantages still help elevate games to a level much higher than they'd be on any other screen. It's part of the reason why revisiting gems like Persona 4 Golden is so easy. At a modest 5.7 inches, the QHD OLED Vita screen cemented PlayStation's initial intention to appeal to core gamers. The OLED may have been dropped with the introduction of the PS Vita 2000 model in 2013, just a year later, but everyone knows that the OG model still maintained the edge for anyone who put emphasis on portable play sessions. For as revolutionary feeling as the PSP was, it could only output games at 480p resolution. And while the PlayStation Vita couldn't quite match its big brother, the PlayStation 3's glorious 1080p, it found a satisfying middle ground with a general display output of 960 by 544, or QHD, technically being a quarter of the pixels seen in a standard 1080p display. What does that mean for people like me who don't have a knack for numbers? Well, in effect, that the PlayStation Vita was the first portable console capable of rendering games in HD, albeit in a slightly skewed form. That didn't matter on February 22nd, 2012 though, the day that the PlayStation Vita launched here in the UK. I still consider picking one up and popping in Uncharted Golden Abyss to be a formative moment in my gaming career, as I was unable to comprehend how Drake was able to do all the Drakey things he did on PS3, but this time on the go and within the palm of my hands. Seeing these first-party franchises make the jump from console to Vita truly was a sight to behold back in 2012, as it was when third-party publishers realised the power and potential of the Vita, when Ubisoft brought Assassin's Creed Liberation, Warner Brothers did with Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, and even EA with Need for Speed Most Wanted, still to this day a very impressive portable open-world racer. When HD games of such calibre launched on Vita, it finally felt like the platform had arrived. That beautiful 5-inch screen suddenly felt like a portal into a whole world of play like never before. That's what made being a Vita owner bittersweet, enjoying what few franchises did make a decent attempt at being made portable, while deep down knowing that the well was probably about to run dry. Even still, while it lasted, the PlayStation Vita walked so a certain other handheld platform could run in terms of proving that AAA games on the go was a viability. That leads us nicely on to... Quite quickly into the PlayStation Vita's lifecycle, indie developers realised that there was an immediate hunger from players to fill up that 1GB of onboard storage. You might need a memory card, with as many games as possible. One of the few perks of space being so expensive and ultimately limited though, was that it meant players were open to installing smaller games, in addition to the bigger stuff that was being heavily marketed at the time. So many of the indie games we know and are beloved today first started out on Vita. Titles like the original Guacamelee, Sound Shapes, and even Velocity 2X all started out there on the platform simultaneously with PS3. And that's not to mention how Sony's handheld made playing top-tier indies like Hotline Miami, Rogue Legacy, The Binding of Isaac, and even Axiom Verge all the more convenient. There's literally so many quality industry indies that were either forged or assisted by the fire that was first started by the Vita from 2012 onwards, serving as a launchpad for devs to go on to bigger, better things, all as we, as the players, got to enjoy a litany of different genres and game styles. I've always personally felt that at one point or another in a console's life, that platform is gifted with the responsibility of being a custodian of the indie games market at the moment. And I think that sort of ethos first began with Xbox Live Arcade back in the 360 era, then it kind of made its way to PS3, Vita and PS4. Vita, a real powerhouse as we're already talking about, and now it's almost kind of gone on to other platforms, the Nintendo Switch in particular. But I think in terms of where those indies end up, you can never quite underestimate the portability factor, and that is something that the PlayStation Vita obviously had in spades. The PlayStation Vita took up this role from its launch in 2012, all the way up until 2017, serving as the perfect foundation for indie developers to experiment and ultimately flourish. The best part is that all this effort can still largely be enjoyed today, because while Sony has taken several worrying steps towards gutting the PS Vita store for good, especially in this past year, it's just about still kicking for anyone who wants to dive into one of the greatest indie game libraries out there. Here's one for the PlayStation diehards out there. Trophies. Since their introduction to PS3 in July 2008, us completionists have been hunting down those little bronze, silver, gold, and platinum beauties, so it was a treat to see them available to earn on PlayStation Vita from day one. It was great news for someone like me, who found himself locked in a trophy battle with a fellow university friend that just so didn't happen to have a Vita, providing an extra incentive to see everything games like Persona 4 Golden, Tearaway, and Gravity Rush had to offer. Say if the PlayStation Trophy integration on Vita wasn't integrated all that well and it wasn't particularly well handled, well, disaster might have struck in that instance, and it would have almost been enough to put me off pursuing that ever-elusive platinum altogether, and let's face it, nobody wants that. PlayStation Vita is still the last portable console to make use of an integrated achievement system, and there's a fair chance that it always will be. What with Xbox pursuing other methods of handheld play via streaming tech, and Nintendo not showing any interest whatsoever, players who wanted to test themselves in games in ways that weren't necessarily required could fill their boots on PlayStation Vita. Let me paint you a picture, PlayStation fans. Imagine the only TV in your home is currently occupied by a loved one watching Flash, The Leftovers, or any other popular show from 2014. You know in the back of their mind that you want to chip away at that Wolfenstein New Order Platinum, but what do? Answer: fire up your PlayStation Vita and undertake your desired PS4 adventure via remote play. This nifty little service, which admittedly began in rickety form on PS3 a few years prior, let you operate your home console using the Vita as effectively a second screen. Was PlayStation Vita remote play hit or miss? Yes. Did you have major latency problems if you had a very poor internet connection? Oh yes. But despite all these issues and more, when it worked, it really worked. And being able to play an expansive open world game in the palm of your hands was truly an experience. You just had to make sure you never strayed too far away from your home's Wi-Fi modem. Remote play was yet another move by PlayStation to try and cater to hardcore gamers within a portable environment. The ultimate result may have been hit or miss in practice, but you only need look at how many people game today to realise how far ahead of the curve Vita was in this regard. Remote play would eventually get better as the functionality made its way to Sony's lineup of Xperia phones, and is potentially the origin of PS5 players now being able to stream their next-gen games backwards onto their PlayStation 4. So there you have it, guys, in terms of 5 reasons why I personally believe the PlayStation Vita was ahead of its time. Do you agree with me? Did you like my points? Be sure to let me know in the comments section below, and then let me know what your favourite PlayStation Vita game was and why you think the OLED screen really brought that to life. I've still got fond memories of picking this beauty up on my 18th birthday. That was the day it released for me, so obviously very seminal moment in my not just gaming life, but life in general. Like, I remember getting it home day one and dipping into Uncharted Golden Abyss and my mind quite literally being blown. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like, and maybe, just maybe, consider subscribing to the Push Square YouTube channel for everything else PlayStation related. But until next time, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.